demo using polygel and the new Luxa collection lapel. I did a live swatching not too long ago, and there were a couple of colors that I loved that I figured would be great for a milk bath. So I wanted to do a 2-in-1. I wanted to do an extension with a form, show you the polygel, and show you how I do a milk bath without having to do a real milk bath. So let's get started. First, I want to put my form on. The thing about forms is it works best on a human, as it should. So I'm gonna do a lot more holding of the form when I use it on my little practice hand, my little silicone girl here. So what I did is I took it off the plastic, I took the little circle, I put it in here. It gives a little more structure to hold the kind of like a bone, so to speak. And then some people roll it. I want to keep it square, so I'm going to do a little rolling of it like that. And then I'm going to pinch the edge right here to match. This is perforated so that this way, if you need to get different angles, different shapes, you can. I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible without having to cut it. Then I'm going to cut the back right here. And you want to hold the finger of the person that you are putting the form on, and you want to be able to angle it where it comes a little bit underneath so you can get right underneath that free edge, right? And if they have a really good hyponychium, you won't have to do much structural change to the form. But if they do have a hyponychium that needs a little bit of adjustment, you will take your scissors and you will adjust as needed. Again, like I said, it's perforated here, it's perforated here. If you need to swoop in and make a divot in here, you can. But it all depends on the person and how their hyponychium, which is the connection underneath here, how it grows. Some people have perfect, some people have the meat that grows underneath, for lack of a better term. I'm one of those people where the meat grows for me as well. So you want to make sure there's no gap. So I see how I put it there and there's a gap. Side view, right? You don't want a gap. It should be flushed as best as possible if you're going to do it. So let me do that. So once you get it where you want to seal. And I'm sealing the bottom here. And if you can see, you're gonna have a little bit of a down dip, but you don't want a gap between it, right? So it should be flushed on both sides. Okay, and if you have someone who has a thick finger, I usually just tape it here, let them crisscross. If not, you can close them and seal them on top. But again, I'm working with the silicone can, so she's not as nice. I also know some people who'll take the extra, they'll take another form and they'll just clip it on the bottom so this we can hold. I'm not gonna do that. The idea is you wanna make sure you have a straight line. At this time, she's a little crooked, but I know where I wanna go, so I'm not gonna follow this line too much. But if you're trying to get comfortable and get used to it, you definitely wanna make sure you have a straight line so that this way you know what you're following, okay? So I'm gonna take my spatula. Ooh. And I'm gonna have my brush. And I'm gonna list everything that I use down below. And I'm gonna use the Matrix Cool. There's Matrix Warm. I have the Clear, and I think there's one more, but I can't remember what it's called. So we are going to prime our client. So you would, I'm going to use Luxa Prime. This nail's already prepped, ready to go. We cleansed it with alcohol so that this way we removed any moisture that is on the nail bed. And then we're going to go in with our prime. You can go in twice depending on how, if you know the person is going to lift very fast, or you can just do it once. I'm going to do it once for the purpose of, this is a demo. And she can't mess up too much. She has no oil beds. And then I'm going to go, and technically, I'm sorry, I should have done this after, but it's best to use the base. That's Luxa base. I'll show it after. Use the Luxa base before you, do I have any flooding? Use the Luxa base, I'm sorry, guys. Trying to do multiple things at once. Use the Luxa base. There we go. We're just gonna clean that up so it doesn't have any flooding before you put on the form. And then you put the form on. So I'm going to cure this right now. Okay, so our girl was cured for 60 seconds. I use Luxa base. And now I'm gonna come in with our matrix sculpting gel, polygel, acrygel for the win. Ooh. Remember, when it's cold outside, products get thicker. When it's warmer outside, products are warmer. I'm only gonna take a little bit. And I'm going to put that right there. And I like to keep my spatula clean so this way it doesn't pick up any extra residue. Just took a lint-free wipe, and I'm going to use a little bit of that alcohol. That's all I need to start shaping and molding. I'm going to bend her down a little bit. Is that a good view for you guys? Perfect. So, and I'm going to walk her through just so I can get her in position the way I'd like her to. And I kind of do it like how you would acrylic with the three bead method, where I get the free edge first if I'm using a form, right? And then I'm going to come in with my brush, and I'm going to use my brush. My brush, the alcohol works like my monomer, right? And I start shaping. And you're always using the belly of the brush. Again, remember, this is a plastic hand, I'm sorry, a silicone hand, so she's not sitting the way I'd like her to. So I want to move quick in this case, but with a real client, you can take your time and shape as you need. There's no rush because polygel is a cross between acrylic and builder. So it gives you a little more time. It's a little more forgiving. My form completely moved on me, guys. Do you see that? Yep. Totally moved on me. I want to be able to get my, move my light a little bit. I want to totally be able to get this in shape so that this way we can move on. And if you need to flash cure, flash cure. So I want my nail to be square, so I'm just getting it in that perfect square shape. And I'm going to actually guide her so she can stay because of the way the form is. The form is moving on me. Okay. Okay, so she's flash cured, and we're going to continue to build her up and get us a fully made finger. heat, so I'm just gonna take this off because this is also a little bit uncomfortable for the client as well too. So that's why I try to do it as quickly as possible. If you're doing a full set, you can try to make sure that you do all of them at once. This way you're moving in a series, so it helps you save time. Or you can do, I'm sorry, I don't know why I closed this, haha. Or you can do a back and forth motion where you do the pinky, ring, ring, keep on going until you get to all 10 fingers. So let's just do this last bead. Not a lot, because it's gonna be closer towards the cuticle. We already can just form it where we need the apex to be, and then we can dive into our design. And the shaping, final filing, and get to it. That did a complete 60-second cure in the light. It's a little crooked just because my form was moving on me, but on a real person, you'll have more time to shape and see. And the cleaner you can get this applied on, the less filing you have to do. So I'm gonna have a little bit of a filing, but it's okay. This files amazingly. It files like butter. I don't know what it is about it, but it's just so amazing. It's so satisfying. If I can find where my file is. I found my sponge. Here we go. We're just gonna grab a new brush, a new file. So I'm gonna look at my sides and see how much I need to do. The idea is not to file the sides too much, but more or less get it in line so this way it's a little bit straight. So the other thing is whenever you have a new file, because this is not a real person, I will do it anyway. When you get a new file, because these are fabricated and they are pre-cut, the edges are sharp. You do not want to go in on a real person with the file. So you want to be able to, for the lack of a better term, season them. And this eliminates the file cutting any of the person's sidewalls or the eponychium, okay? Eponychium up here. So I'm gonna look at the side. I'm going to make sure I come in, try to make sure I make it flushed. And I kind of want to do it in like a start down here and work my way up kind of motion, so that this way you're not going to cut into the sidewalls too much. You only need to get it straight as needed, and less filing there will eliminate any cutting that you'll do on the person's sidewall. And I'm never leaving my file in the same spot for too long because it can cause burning the same way a electrical file can cause burning. And I prefer to actually do this one by hand. And if you notice, I'm sorry, My thumb is supporting up here, and these 3 fingers are putting it here, so that this way it eliminates the vibration that the client feels, and it also gives you the stability to be able to get into the section that you're trying to file. But I was saying that I'm always in motion because you don't want to cause burning. And a regular file, a hand file, can cause just as much burning damage as a electrical file. I bet you didn't know that. So now I'm just going to go straight up and down, but I'm going to do it very gently because I don't want to get into the person's sidewall too much so that I don't cause any issues. Right? You're looking at it up and down. Looking down the barrel, so if you can see down the barrel, I have a little bit more height over here and a little more height over here. So this is where I can start to do a little bit more shaping with the nail. You don't necessarily have to use the 180 side, but I want to bring it down faster, so I'm going to use the 180 side, but the 100 side will do just as fine. And I'm kind of doing it in a roundabout motion. When I am getting close to the cuticle, I do want to use my 100 because it's not as abrasive on the skin. If it does touch the skin, the goal is not to have it touch the skin. So I'm kind of doing it in a circular motion, if you can see it, right? And then I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to file towards me. You don't ever want to file towards the client because then you can actually file the skin. So file towards yourself. Now, if you notice, I have some smoothness, I have some shiny spots or low spots that you can still see. That's okay. I'm not going to go crazy to make sure it's even because I'm going to come back and I'm going to use my 180 sponge. And that's going to smooth out some of the little divots that are there still. And you don't need to go crazy filing luxamatrix, at least. Polygel is very forgiving and can be very smooth. I know this particular brand, their polygel is literally, it melts like butter. There's no words for it. I can't even formulate the words. You hear me? I'm stumbling. All right. I'm looking down the barrel, making sure everything's okay. And I'm just making sure I'm getting the shape that I want, right? And then you should be flipping it over, looking at from the client's view, right? So it's still a little crooked. This view looks a little straight, this view a little crooked. So what I'm gonna do is I hold the nail, I take the softer side, which is my 100 side, and I kind of bring it back, right? I kind of bring it back to make sure. And I'm filing away again, filing away. So even though it looks like I'm touching their skin, I'm not. And then I come over here and I file it away. So this way they're not feeling any of the abrasive, okay? And then I make sure the top is even. In this case, we're gonna deal with crooked. That was the file. That was the, what is this thing called again? Form. So I could go to town and I can go crazy because I know she's a fake nail, but I want to treat her like she's a real person a little bit. Just for a little bit. I'm going to shape that out as best as I can. Okay. Keep that in view for you guys. Not too bad. It's a little bad. Just a little bad. Not too bad. And again, I'm not going back and forth. I'm coming from the top and bringing it down. Coming from the top and bringing it down. Right? Yeah, she's crooked. It's okay. I make mistakes too, you know. I wouldn't do this on a person though. I wouldn't leave it on a person like this. I would not. Okay. I didn't name her, guys. What should I name my practice finger? right? They all need names too. She's a pretty girl. I said that like she was a bird or something. Pretty girl, pretty girl. All right, I think we just about have it. Okay. I could obsess over the crookedness right now, but I'm not going to. We are going to now move these away. And I'm gonna clear the palette of the nail with some alcohol. Look at that, so pretty. Okay, so I lied. I obsessed and I refiled it because I couldn't see it anymore. She was a little too crooked for me. Okay, so going to clean or cleanse the nail with some alcohol. Okay, we look down the barrel. There we go. So let's dive into the nail art. So I have some dried flowers. I think I'm going to go with, where is my tweezers? Put this at the top for you guys to see. I'm going to go, I think I like these purple flowers that are laid out all over the table, and I think I like these little pink ones over here. So I'm going to take them out, and where's my scissors? I'm going to cut them a little short, make them smaller. Okay, don't need a lot. Maybe 1 or 2 leaves. And I'm not looking for perfection because they're going to be laid in there funny or different, should I say? Okay, that works. So I think the color that I liked the most was Gasm. Last time I did it, as you can see, I used, I think it was 3rd Time's a Charm. Yeah, I had used 3rd Time's a Charm last time, which is also a nice creamy color, right? But this time I want to use from Lux's new collection, Lapel. I want to use Gasm. Here we go. It still gives me a nice pinky milk kind of color. So I'm gonna, you can use base if you like, or you can dive right in with the color. I'm gonna just dive right in. And I'm gonna do a tiny little bounce around the cuticle so it gets flush with the cuticle. And bring it down. And before it cures, I'm gonna pick up my flowers and put them in there. And it's random, no particular order I'm looking for. I just want to make sure that it looks as free and organic as possible. Just tap gently so they can sit. Gonna get some greenery, right? Recut them for a reason a little bit. That one's over here. here, or you can paint them on too when you're done. When you're done encapsulating or inlaying, however you prefer to say it, you can definitely draw some of the greenery. I have not cured yet. I'm taking advantage of the wet layer from the polish to lay my flowers. I think I have an empty spot over there. Which one do I want to put? Oh, here we go. That's a good one. Come on, baby. There we go. Okay. I think I like the positions of those. And we're going to cure. Okay, and then I'm going to take a silicone tool. Let me move this out the way. We're done curing. I'm going to take a silicone tool that Amazon find, and I'm going to just make sure that's clean first. Get a little lint free. Just make sure my silicone tool is clean and doesn't contaminate with like glitter or whatever. And I'm just going to come back. There's still an inhibition layer that's here among the nail polish, gel polish, should I say. And I'm just going to make sure it lays flat, right? So the stickiness is going to help me. So that this way we don't have as much of a groove when you're putting the polish on. And it helps it to lay a little bit flatter. And I can do all of this without having to encapsulate it with builder gel or another layer of polygel. You're gonna see. So I'm gonna come back in, and because this is so sheer, I'm gonna lay it the same thing. This is Gasm. I have not changed my color, so it's more of a pinky milk bath, right? And if I feel like it's too much coverage, I can come in. I can clean it up a little bit. And I saw that you were moving, so we're gonna make sure I don't touch you too much. Okay. So I'm gonna cure that. So that was a base layer of Gasm, my dried flowers, another layer of Gasm, and now I'm going to come in with my base. And this is going to act as our encapsulation layer, so to speak. And I'm going to have you can go thick or you can go thin. I'm going to go a little bit thicker, as you can see. Can you see? But I'm going to make sure that one side is like completely flat, so I have a nice dollop, right? And I'm going to kind of roll it and let it bounce at the cuticle. And I want it to float, right? And this is a longer nail, so I may need to come back in here another time. But even when I come back in, it shouldn't be gloppy, if that makes any sense. I want it to be at a consistency where the base can float. And right now, if you can see, my lines are wonky, right? Nothing looks straight. So I want to come back in a little bit, again, only on one side, and I want to just glide it a bit so that the lines are a little bit straighter. See how much straighter that looks in terms of my lines before? And I definitely have to give credit where credit is due. I learned this amazing trick from one of Lux's nail educators, Christy, polished in Portland. And she always says, follow your line of light, follow your line of light. when she does her demos, it's just to give you a little insight of what you're looking for in terms of smoothness. So it's not a perfected smoothness right now, but it's close enough because I still have to come in with my top. This base is protecting the flowers from not getting damaged, right? So look at that. It's a lot smoother than it was before. I can work with that because I know I'm going to come in with my top coat and I'm going to cure. Okay, so we had our 60-second cure. Now I'm going to come in with our shine, our top coat. And this is a no wipe top coat. So once I'm done, I don't have a sticky layer. I won't have to worry about cleansing it with alcohol. It will be done. And I will go straight into the next part of my service with my client. So again, I'm gonna have a nice good dollop because I want to do that floating effect again, right? So I'm gonna bounce it at the cuticle, push it a little bit where it get to it, and then I'm gonna start floating. And this is where I want the top coat to be perfected while watching my line of light. Right? And I'm gonna give it a couple of seconds to self-level. I can pay attention to my line of light. It's still a little wonky. So this is where I would come in again and just gently float it where I need to get the line of light to be a little bit smoother. And if it's really, really bad, guess what? I can come back and I can use my, I turn it into my, I have two. I have one for when I'm using builder gel and I have one for when I am using nail art. So this is my nail art one. I could use this and I can have it just go in certain spots so I don't have buildup. Right? See how that's a smooth line, but yet I still have some wonkiness going over here. Everywhere else seems to be okay. And I don't want any buildup at the free edge because then you just have a bulky, out of shape nail. And we don't want that. We want to have a nice edge. And I always bring it back to the cuticle. And not to the point where it can flood, but just where it can just have a nice floating system. Like a smooth apex. Okay, my line of light looks better. Right here. Okay, I think I can live with that. Yes, sir. Cure. Okay, so I'd come in. This is a smaller finger. It's not a full hand. Do a little spritz. Clean that up. Pretend she's a real person, everybody. Do a little lotion. She was really crooked. My poor baby was crooked. Where do I put this? Okay, just moving some stuff around. Getting a little oil. This is everyone's favorite. The tea tree, you could tell, is well loved. This, again, I'm going to put everything that I use in the comments below. This is Nails in the Trap Cuticle Oil. It has little glitters in it. And I'm going to put just a little bit of oil, just so she looks a little pretty, right? And for everyone to get the little close-up of her, the milk bath, it's floating. You can also check if you'd like. I'm gonna wipe this down. If you notice that, okay, my top coat was not laid right, my base coat was not laid right, if you feel for it, and I'm going to actually do it just so you guys can see, right? If you feel and you see that it's still raised or it's bumpy, Yes, don't be afraid. Do it. Smooth it out. Smooth that bad boy out, right? Smooth it out. And gently, I'm not adding a lot of pressure. It's a very, very gentle touch that I'm using. Go in. Come in one more time with the sponge buffer. And you don't want to make it so smooth that it doesn't have any traction. You just want to get it to a point where it can still be absorb the gel polish. Right? Yeah, I did the entire finger because I want to make sure that when I lay it down, my still has some shiny spots, can you see? I want to make sure that when I come in with my top coat, that it's laid out smooth. I don't feel any more of the layered flowers raising up. Because if I can pick on it, I can guarantee your client, yourself, whoever is going to get this style will pick. I'm a picker. Picky, pick, 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 pick. So I'm coming back, letting that dry. And I'm going to do my top coat. I don't have to be as thick because we already have a layer on, but I want to make sure that it glides when I put it on. Right? And I want to make sure that I'm watching my line of light so that it's nice and smooth. And this is a long nail, so I'm just going to go back in a little bit. But I'm still gliding. And if you find anywhere is a little wonky, give it some time to settle. It's this corner for me. Okay. I'm gonna just bring that up so this way I don't have a pool of gel at the free edge. The new free edge. Again, I just bring it up to center. Bring it up to center. Perfect, that looks good for me. All right, and we're gonna cure. All right, and there goes our finished milk bath. Not as complicated as it looks. You don't have to do it in any way other than what makes it easier for you to achieve the look in a short time. So, if you enjoyed this little demo, please click the bell, like, share, subscribe. I hope that it brought some help for somebody. Again, as long as you're using a nice sheer milky color, you can definitely get this effect without having to go through the entire process of the real milk bath. So thank you guys. Appreciate you. See you next time.